Long ago, in the wilds of Isle, demons terrorized the land and subjugated its people. They were known as the Spider.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about Ghost of Yotei Legends. We did our previous video about 2 weeks ago, letting you guys know how we felt about the game, our experience, how we came into this game with our chest out, feeling confident, and then just got the brakes beaten off of us.
Game said, hold my beer.
For the next 6 hours. It is a bit better now that we have basically perfected builds. They're pretty much maxed out at this point. Excluding like just a couple of pieces of gear that got rolled on. Definitely an entirely different experience once you get the build that you need and you start experimenting at those high levels. Right now we're running through a lot of nightmare content. We're rotating through that. It's a piece of cake for the gameplay that we like, for the type of
builds.
Like the way that we like to play, basically. Now I think we have a better idea of how the game is structured, like what's the best way to level up and how you should be playing as of right now. So Ghost, I'm gonna let you lead off and basically just saying like how has it changed for you and what's the strongest point now that you have like obviously at least like some hours under your belt.
It's changing my class has given me more enjoyment, which is I never thought that would have been something that I would need or want to do.
Right.
Going from a samurai that I was so heavily leaning towards to now to the shinobi and getting deep into it. I think I'm level like 75 at it right now. Like it's really enjoyable. Obviously class specific items, the shinobi, charm, the chain weapon. I can never say it correctly. Like what you were saying, that now things are kind of rolled in correctly. The build is actually has some synergy. It's fun. Getting into nightmare content, full transparency, I thought it was going to be a lot harder than what it is right now.
Right.
But also, I'll lean into this, and we talk about it off camera, recording, whatever. Our builds typically will build off of each other. They synergize really, really well. Like there's just a relentlessness that comes to the builds where the enemy doesn't truly get a chance to rotate. It's a continuous thing. Now it doesn't mean that it's always like that, but generally, 7-8 times out of 10, it's aggression the entire time.
Absolutely.
I think it's fun. I almost want it to get turned up just a little bit. Like I think it's nightmare, but it's not the nightmare I remember. And just for me, I would like it a couple of volumes higher, and I think it would be great. Or add a more challenging elite in, like that crow guy, like something that will break up the rotation of the players, if that makes sense.
Right. I am all for that as long as the enemies themselves have been balanced. Like we definitely need to do something with the enemies and their behavior, because a lot of the times enemies get cheap shots. The entire reason that we're so aggressive and we don't allow the enemies to breathe, because I don't want him to do anything, because things can get out of control so quickly between the teleporting and the sliding, and it's hard to predict how enemies will behave if they can just skate to you off screen. And the speed is so quick. It's pretty hard to try and counter, especially if you're locked on to one target. What were you going to say?
And I don't know if you're able to get this footage that I sent to you. Maybe if I got to send it another way. On that point where I just went to go hit that mortar guy and he disappeared back to a spawn point. Like, the game is good and there's a good amount of challenge, but when you are fighting against the machine itself and the weirdness that it can bring, it takes some of the fun out of it. Like a dude
Right.
stepped on my toes during one of these incursions, and I instantly lost health. Like he didn't even swing on me. I was like, okay, that's cool.
Right. I definitely want to say because I obviously the last video that we did got a bunch of comments, which I'm grateful for. Appreciate you guys. Like what's the word? Like interacting, with the video, liking it. Like that's what I really want to see. A lot of people are talking about how tough this game is in the beginning, and it is. I'm not even gonna lie. Like that experience is still there. But I think if you can push through, through the story, just take your time. Don't worry about like the pieces of your build at like low levels. Until you get to 110, don't worry about what pieces you need to be putting on because it does not matter. And this is not just for Yotei. This is like for all looter shooters. Like when you're trying to get to max level, none of the gear that you pick up along the way matters. Unless you can bring that gear up to the level, but then you don't want to waste resources doing that. It's no need. But yeah, I think once you push past that, the game actually opens up a little bit more. You can experiment a little bit more with different types of builds because on top of that, you have the experience and the skill that's kind of like you know what's coming, you know what to deal with. Not everything is as much of a surprise as it was in the beginning, but also your character is obviously a little bit more stronger, and you've unlocked all of your techniques towards 110 also. So there's definitely some enjoyment to be had in the end game. Um, Ghost, you mentioned earlier that you wish they would have more exotics, and I am inclined to agree.
Yes. Or, well, I shouldn't say or. I want, they don't need to like oversaturate the market and have 55 exotics. We don't need that. But I do
Right.
think we need a couple more. Maybe one or maybe having two, kind of like Path of Exile does. So you have two ascendancies. Maybe you have two charms, right? So it's two totally different play styles, or it's two types of bombs or two types of swords that are leaning towards that character's play style. But I don't just want an exotic. I want the exotics to mean something. Like I want
Yes.
it to be kind of class defying. Like, okay, I got it. Let's go. Not okay. Like there's one of them where it's the sword. There's a 30% chance of knocking people back. I don't want
Yeah.
30% chance. Like when I use it and
Yeah.
I'm using spirit that
Right.
heals me, it needs to be able to knock them back in combat.
Right.
Especially for a character like the samurai that would use something like that. 30%
Right.
chance in this game, you're dying.
Right. And I don't understand why the percentage is so low on a legendary. I can understand if it was like epic. But we're talking about a legendary piece of gear that is supposedly hard to get, and we're also talking about RNG here. So you got those two factors playing for it. So at least 70% or percentage if you have gear that's more tailored toward a certain class. Samurai has 70% chance of throwback when using. That's that's more often than not. And also just like you said in Tsushima when you were using the spirit brew, I think that what it was, you got a 50% of
The gourd. Yeah,
the gourd.
the spirit gourd or whatever it is. Yeah, I gave you 2 to 3 spirit on hit, which was amazing. But
Yeah.
there's one like that in this game too. But the only thing that made that really good in the last game is that your spirit and your resolve, it was not only just your resolve, it was your ultimate too. So like that could keep your ultimate running consistently if your build was in rotation.
Right.
This is, I mean, yeah, I just don't use spirit. I do use spirit moves a lot, but like it's not classifying my spirit move. I use it as a stagger to offset me getting, a bomb back or something like that, or my
Right.
class ability to come back to start the rotation over again.
Exactly. A big difference also in this game is that it leans way too heavy into ranged, and I feel like a lot more classes lose ranged and ghost weapons than they normally would. It used to be something that was usually tied more sword, archers and mercenaries. I don't forget what the Ronin.
Ronin?
Using ghost weapons and it was just a part of the kit. But I feel like a lot of the times, if you're trying to survive, especially in Nightmare content, you you were using sorry, you were using a lot more equipment than you normally would, which I feel is good, but also, it's a delicate balance here. There needs to be a more emphasis on melee, but we can't get that because I feel like the some of the like base enemies are so they block everything, they recover so quickly. So if you're trying to cut down waves as fast as possible because that's necessary in Nightmare, you can't afford to just be sitting here sparring. Like I need you to die. So Spirit Game, whatever people have, you want to cut through their guard as quickly as possible using parrying to do all of that. But yeah, also let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room, the bane of everybody's existence, Archer. Archer is it's a specific type of archer that I do not like.
My
For
favorite
the
archer is the one that sits back and does nothing up close.
a
Aren't
good
you
archer,
Overwatch? Aren't you supposed to be watching my back? Nah,
nah,
getting poked, pokey doked the entire
getting
time.
poked. He's shooting at the same target you're fighting. Yes, I don't understand how. Like I'm perfectly fine if an archer is doing what they're supposed to, being Overwatch, taking out the enemies that your player that your teammates are not focused on. That's how you're supposed to play. But I cannot stand when because me and you love combat, we like to be in it. I do not like my archer just shooting and keeping the enemy for even dropping down for me to even engage. That is a boring way to play this game. And for those of you who say, well, I just want the loot at the end anyway, what does it matter? I play this game to have fun. I'm not here to just, what's the point of the loot if I'm not even going to be able to use it? I don't understand that argument. I don't want to do that. I want to have fun and also have the satisfaction of getting the loot that I want at the end of the game as well. Also, I feel good about my build. It's a good way. It makes me feel good to know that my build is working correctly while I'm fighting. But I can't have that if my archer continues to kill people before they even get to the circle.
You know, I'm going to play devil's advocate from it. I agree, and I'm fine with that. If you're going to kill them before they get there, fine. I'm cool with that. But don't do that for 4.5 waves, and then when it gets kinetic and we're in the last bit of this, you come off that perch because you've ran out of resolve, you ran out of arrows, you now have to come down here with the peasants, right? And you
Right.
got to get in the mud and come get it, and you can't hold your own at all. Like I watched somebody jump off their perch, land, and get bodied. Like, okay,
Yes.
so we've gotten all the way here for you to not know how to do anything at the end. I
Right.
will also say this, and I just want to revert back. Ghost of Yotei can be a very tough game playing solo, especially for some of the content because unless you're, and I haven't run into this yet, very very few times, where someone's actually on a mic. Like you can have a very bad time with this playing at higher
Yes.
content, not being able to communicate with somebody. Like it's actually rough.
Especially on the attunement
Yeah, and it can turn
levels.
you off to this game. The attunements suck. Who also pause? Whoever came up with that nightmare mission at corporate needs to get punched in the dick. Yo, screw you, brother. You're the guy that did the buggies in Grand Theft Auto. Like you just punched in the dick. I'm never doing that again.
Yeah, he
But
said we don't like not only just attunements, but attunements don't go away. They come back. Like, all right,
no,
you
as
can
soon as you
guarantee that
knock
I
it
will
off,
not do that
you get
nightmare
one
story
hit.
again.
No, you lost me. I'm done. Get the hell out of here.
I've
But it's
never had to
things like
try so
that.
hard in
Like
my life.
it's just tough when you don't have somebody to play with. Like this game can turn you off pretty quick, and at that point,
Yes.
like you have to be somebody that is really into the game to want to stay in it because
Right.
stories are one thing, cool. Survivals and incursions are a complete other thing. That you need communication, and it's tough.
And also, playing with randoms is always a it's always
Mixed
hit or
bag.
miss. And most of the time it's miss because I don't think any of these people. Some people just join and then they'll see a certain class and immediately back out,
I've done
or
that.
or just some people I just come in maybe want to test their build then jump out. Like sure, you could have done that in the training, like in the training space that we have. And to be honest, they do need to add more training options. You should be able to put more enemies down there to practice, but that's a whole other thing. But yeah, it is hard trying to deal with randoms, and on top of that, I don't think people are thinking sometimes with the attunements. We see people like hitting people with they don't even try to match the color of the enemy that they're fighting. It's like, brother, don't try to brute force through that. Go grab the color so we can clear this wave faster. And on
No,
top of that, that survival requires communication, or at least some level of intelligence to say, hey, let's all have different colors so we can deal with whatever's coming our way. But
nah, three
yeah,
blues fighting.
but yeah, like I said, I really think the game is good once you get past that initial 6 hour hump. Those, and if at this point you're playing Crimson Desert, you will resonate with that, because that's a 6 hour hump too before you actually get some enjoyment out of that game. But yeah, you're gonna have to have a little bit of like tenacity and push through this and to find some enjoyment. I think it's worth it if you can actually find a build that you like and find a class. Ghost switched off of Samurai and went to Shinobi. I switched off of Shinobi, went to Merc, having a fantastic time. I don't see myself switching off this class anytime soon. But for the love of God, give the Samurai some love. They deserve it. If you're going to give the Brute all these weapons in order for him to master, then at least give him ways of clearing enemies longer. Somebody in the subreddit, I don't even know their names, gave a great suggestion of changing the Samurai's ultimate to like a rage mode, where you can just go and like do double or triple damage. I don't care, but he just keeps hacking and slashing. It is unguardable attacks, and the more he kills, the longer he extends the rage meter. I
You know
think
what?
something like that would be excellent.
Or let him not do a 5-hit combo. Let him do a 10.
Yes,
You
like
know,
that's your frontline soldier, but he's not clearing out
you know what they could do.
multiple people at a time.
There's a because this video is gonna get real long real quick.
Yes.
There's a samurai perk in Shishima that they could definitely bring over. It's called Blessed Strikes. When you are in your, I believe it's in your ultimate, you actually get healed as you make contact.
Oh, really?
And
Yeah.
something like that they need to bring back, because the one-hit wonder boy of the enemy over here is not great. So if you could up him to have more damage, or you take his other class ability where he can turn his his weapon on fire, that also can spread over. Wow, this is really tough. Be able to spread to other enemies, because it doesn't
Yeah.
do it in this game like it did on the other one. Like, he needs to have a way of staggering out of groups when he gets surrounded, and he doesn't have it. And I'm sorry,
Right.
those guys that use that Adachi and you got a parry build, that's too slow. I'm coming over there and I'm
Yes.
assassinating everything.
Right.
Like, that's not okay.
Right. And for those of you saying you're clearing Nightmare solo, cool, that's fine. But you're not clearing Nightmare solo as quickly as somebody, using any other class. Like, yeah, it really takes skill to play as a samurai, but they really need to up it so he can actually have the potential to clear out multiple waves quickly, instead of having to focus on one individual enemy and fighting that one. Because most of the time, your samurai is going to have the lowest amount of kills because he just doesn't have the equipment to do that. But yeah, also, I don't understand the tuning that happens with like stuff like hallucination. Put that back like it used to be. Who decided that removes the targeting from the hallucinate? Like, they no longer become enemies for you to actually hit, and they are registering as allies. That is asinine. That I don't understand the
Well,
thought process of changing that.
and honestly, what's really weird about that is that the assassin, whatever, shinobi, it's part of his kit that if I assassinate somebody, everybody around him is now hallucinating. But it doesn't
Yes.
matter because by the time they run over to go hit somebody else, they're out of it. But I can't
Yes.
fight them. Nothing. No ultimate locks onto them. I mean, yours can hit them, but like, I can't go chase them down. Like, none of your ranged weapon hits them. It's weird.
My thrown weapons don't register. They don't register as enemies. I've thrown weapons right past them. It's stupid. I don't understand. And the only way that I can see that being viable is if you were to roll into status effect duration. I could maybe see, but is that even worth doing if people want to play that playstyle? I mean, I would like to see that happen. Maybe we could test that out just to see how long they stay affected. But even then, like, you still, at the end of the day, you still have all these enemies you have to kill. Like, regardless, they still have to be murdered at the end of the day. But yeah,
I got nothing else.
me neither. Archers need to be taken down a peg. I think Merc is actually where all classes should be. I think that's a really strong same thing. I think Shinobi should be brought up a little bit. Give Shinobi back the quick assassinations. Samurai needs a complete overhaul. Bring them back up to where they need to be. The brute that we all love from the first game. And for the love of God, these archers have way too much ego and they need to be brought down a peg because 9 times out of 10, when they jump into combat, they are useless. I'm tired of seeing it. A class should not be able to wipe out waves before they even get to the circle. That class is low risk, high reward, and it needs to be on par with all the other classes that are available. And that's how I'm in this video. Yoshi said he didn't have anything else, but for those of you who have been playing the game consistently and stuck with it, let me know how you're enjoying the game. Also share those builds so I can copy and paste them. But above all else, make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video, and we will catch you guys next time. Goodbye.
Bye.